This is the aerial assassin Will Ospreay here in London, and I'm here to tell you support Wrestle Talk and support independent wrestling.
Support Wrestle Talk!
Thank you for your support on Patreon, astounding Abdullah Alenzi. Are the Bullet Club reuniting in WWE? Seth Rollins hits everyone with a chair. And who will be the special guest referee for the Universal title match at Stomping Grounds where it's time to take ass and kick names? Spoiler, we still don't know or really care. And which WWE star has heat with Goldberg? Click the timestamps in the video description below to go straight to any of those stories. I'm Ollie Davis. Give us a subscribe, press the thumbs up button, and answer our question of the day in the comments. Who do you think will be the special guest referee for Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins this Sunday? Because I'll be replying to people. And click the eye above my head to give your rating for the show, where you can choose from Rawsome, Core, Average, Poor, and Rawful, as I review the 17th of June episode of Monday Night Raw. SmackDown's Elias kicked off the show by insulting Enter Your Hometown Here. He revealed he was invited to Raw to be a wild card by Baron Corbin. What are the rules? What are the rules? To reveal himself as the special guest referee for this Sunday's Universal title match until Seth Rollins attacked him with a chair. No! Sorry, I get flashbacks when I see Seth with a chair sometimes. This is a good chair. This started the episode's genuinely fun night-long narrative. Corbin picks a ref and Seth hits them with a chair, which included Elias, EC3, Eric Young, a cuddly toy, and Baron Corbin himself, which means not even Baron Corbin can escape the pull
of Baron Corbin's mid-card vortex.
The opening segment transitions seamlessly into the first match, where each participant in the US title #1 contenders 5-way came down to the ring and rather brilliantly hit a move on the beaten up Elias. Just like the 6-man tag involving all these men last week, the 5-way was just as fun and did a good job of getting each guy over. But the elimination format somewhat nullified that, because that meant they had to pin 4 of them. Ricochet, pew pew, beat The Miz in the final 2 to get immediately beaten up by Samoa Joe in the post-match. They'll fight over the US title this Sunday. After showing Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins together on the MTV Movie Awards red carpet, Seth took her out with a chair shortly after that photo was taken. Lynch called her stomping ground opponent Lacey Evans down to hit a Exploder on her. This feud is very much past its expiration date, and this was not an engaging go-home promo. The Viking War Raiden experience then passed Daniel Bryan and Rowan like ships in a beard, a cool bit of future feud foreshadowing to beat a local enhancement team. This was the Vikings' first Raw appearance in over a month. Then continuing the frantic pace, the camera panned the crowd to see the most ridiculously disguised R-Truth and Carmella at ringside. I don't know about you, but that moustache disguise is really working for me. R-Truth. The undercard ran down for this week's 24/7 shenanigans, where they were distracted by finding Titus World slide under the ring, letting Truth escape to reign for another day. What a great opening first hour to Raw! It feels chaotic, dramatic, like a living, breathing reality. The Omnishane. God damn it. But surprisingly, even Shane McMahon's segments were good, which started here with Heath Slater begging Shane and his goons, Drew McIntyre and The Revival, for a raise to support his many, many kids. Scrooge McMahon turned him down, so Drew found Heath outside afterwards to offer him money. They're former 3MB buddies after all. But it was all a cruel ruse, as McIntyre beat up Slater instead in what was one of his most effective heel angles so far. Next up saw the return of the Sami and KO show, where Baron Corbin revealed who the special guest referee would be this Sunday, EC3, who was quickly hit by Rollins with a chair. This brought out the New Day, who Sami said weren't on the wildcard list for tonight. There's a list? But Kofi Kingston answered he's the WWE champion, so he can go anywhere. The champions can go anywhere? A 6-man tag then got underway, using an unconscious EC3 as the referee, which EC3 sold very well thanks to his method acting of being completely dead on the main roster so far in 2019. The New Day won, continuing Kofi's amazingly strong booking, but it did come at the expense of Corbin, who was abandoned by Sami and KO. You know, Baron Corbin, the guy who's fighting for the Universal title this Sunday. Yeah, he lost. Then, in possibly the most exciting new storyline set up in this episode, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were joking around with AJ Styles, which suddenly shifted into Styles harshly telling them to take themselves seriously again, which Gallows and Anderson took on board by losing to the Usos in just a few minutes. AJ was shown watching on from backstage, and a post-Raw video on YouTube has Styles giving them more advice, suggesting this could be part of a larger comeback story. Hopefully. WWE have teased and dropped Bullet Club reunions almost as many times as they've completely botched people's characters. Speaking of, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross fought the Iconics for the women's tag titles, but Bayley scuffled with Alexa on the outside to lose. It was actually Alexa's plan all along, manipulating Nikki to now be in her corner at Stomping Grounds, which is actually a pretty smart narrative. It's just a shame they had to ruin both their characters to get there. Paul Heyman then came out to fill for Brock Lesnar not being there, where he's running so low on Brock might cash in material, he even went for cheap local sports team heat. You're better than that, Paul. Roman Reigns then cut his own generic promo calling out Shane, who would appear on the Titantron to cut his own generic promo, who threw to Drew to also cut a generic promo. Thankfully, this segment got good when Reigns went backstage to trash Shane's mid-card of evil celebrations and chase McMahon into the ring for a spear. This was a fun brawl. Unfortunately, it was again very clear that Roman versus Shane is the long-term feud, which is deeply depressing. Episode 9 of the Firefly Funhouse appeared to be its last, as the barriers between Bray's created world, where people can think the Earth isn't round or dinosaurs aren't dead. Hey, AJ Styles doesn't believe that. He just thinks there's some interesting points. Broke down into WWE's larger reality. Surely this means Bray is debuting next week after Stomping Grounds, and the main event saw a cracking match between Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins. There was even some fun over-the-top booking where the New Day Usos and Revival brawled after a DQ spot to cause the match to restart with everyone banned at ringside. Unfortunately, this was at the expense of a pay-per-view level story. Seth had never beaten Bryan up until this point, and now he has. A great basis for a huge feud wasted to build Rollins up for a match with Baron Corbin, of all people. The post-match saw Corbin beat Seth with a chair to stand tall at the end, begging the question, why not just have Baron cause the DQ to protect the Seth's never beaten Bryan story? This was a much better episode than what Raw has been doing for the last few months. And while that is a very low bar, this was a deliriously welcome soft reset of the show. This week's Raw is a high average. Now over to Pete with the news.
Great review, Ollie. What? Sorry. Thought that might have been Seth Rollins with a chair for a second there. Spooky, scary chairman aside, on a slightly different wrestling-related show that airs on a Monday, Being the Elite, a match at AEW Fyter Fest has now been confirmed. It was previously announced that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks will take on the team of the Lucha Bros and a mystery partner at Fyter Fest. Their partner was originally supposed to be Pac before he pulled out of AEW events due to creative differences. Now, in the latest episode of Being the Elite, the Lucha Bros mystery partner has been revealed to be Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid made news headlines recently for having an outstanding match on AAA TV against El Hijo del Vikingo, definitely butchered that one, on June 9th. With Dave Meltzer of The Wrestling Observer even going so far as to call him the next breakout star in the wrestling business. AEW have clearly struck while the iron's hot. Speaking of heat, and Matt Riddle has been very outspoken with his dislike of WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg, criticizing him heavily following his bout with The Undertaker at Super Showdown and revealing that he had been blocked by him on Twitter. Now Riddle has explained his feelings further in an interview with TalkSport, saying, "The thing for me is, and one of the reasons I was never a fan of Goldberg in the beginning when everybody was like, oh, he's so good. I was like, no, he's terrible, he's hurting people, and there's nothing else. He just has 3-minute matches. So for me, I don't care how much money he makes, I'm just glad people were entertained. But stick to your wheelhouse, bro, and stop headbutting doors before you wrestle." Riddle's comments have led some fans to speculate that he may be punished in WWE for being so outspoken against a Hall of Famer, but according to Riddle, WWE were aware of its temporary temperament when they signed him. I let them know before I signed. I'm gonna tell you who I am. I'm very honest. Even with Matt Bloom, we've gotten into it where I'm like, hey man, I think you're disrespecting me. And he's like, what? And we get into it. But then we're better afterwards because I don't hold anything back. I think if I was a bad worker and then I did everything I do, they'd be like, hate this guy. But all the talents like Triple H and Shawn Michaels, they know I'm legit as hell and they love it. Riddle's confidence is obvious, but in fairness to him, he does indeed back it up inside the ring. Bro. Someone else who won't be able to back anything up inside a ring for a while though is Lars Sullivan, who seemingly has picked up a potentially serious injury. Sullivan made his in-ring debut against the Lucha House Party at Super Showdown, where he won via DQ because... actually, I have no idea why. And then faced the three of them again in an elimination match on the following Raw, where he won in a much more dominant fashion. Sullivan was due to continue his dominating run by facing Matt Hardy on SmackDown. However, he was pulled from the show due to a reportedly minor knee injury that he picked up during that match on Raw, according to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer. Now though, Meltzer has updated the situation, and it seems that the injury may be more severe than originally thought. The knee injury to Lars Sullivan that kept him off SmackDown Tuesday is worse than originally believed. There are no definitive details until he undergoes an MRI, but it doesn't look like a small thing and he'll be back Monday at this point. This has come at possibly the worst time for Sullivan, on the cusp of asserting himself on the main roster and getting himself over with the main roster crowd. Hopefully this knee injury is not too severe and he'll be back on our screens doing the creepy face before long. That one, the really creepy one, that one. He'll be doing that before long. Has The Last of Us 2 release date just been leaked? Click the video to my right to be taken to that video right now. Press the thumbs up, subscribe, and enable notifications, and leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of Raw. A special thank you to our pledge hammers on Patreon, some of whom you can see scrolling below me right now. I've been Chopper Pete Quinnell, and that was wrestling.